Welcome back. I'm Tiffany Meyer. Major developments this week relating to gender transition surgeries on minors. On Tuesday, the American Society of Plastic Surgeons announced its opposition to carrying out breast removal and similar surgeries on those under 19 years old. This comes on the heels of a first-of-its-kind jury verdict against medical professionals, awarding a young woman $2 million. The landmark verdict out of New York held a surgeon and psychologist liable for malpractice. The pair had facilitated the double mastectomy for then 16-year-old Fox Varian. Also earlier this week, pediatric healthcare provider Children's Minnesota announced it may stop certain gender transition procedures, including puberty blockers for minors. Joining us now to discuss these latest developments is detransitioner Chloe Cole. She's a patient advocate at Do No Harm. Chloe, thank you so much for joining us. Great to see you again. First, what was your reaction to this ruling?
Thanks for having me again. I think that this has been one of the single most successful weeks that we could have possibly had in the movement for protecting children from transgenderism, with this verdict in Fox Varian's case and with major medical organizations coming out now to say that they are against the use of these surgeries in minors.
And Chloe, as we've mentioned before, you underwent some irreversible procedures and you filed your own lawsuit in California. Has this landmark ruling given you and others more hope that accountability is coming?
It's given me a lot of hope for my own case, which should be up for trial, and that a precedent has been created for every single young person, every single child who has been through this, to seek justice for themselves, because we have seen now that even in New York, one of the most liberal states, this trial had a successful outcome for the first time in history. And not just with the case, but with the ASPA coming out with their recommendation against using these surgeries in gender-confused minors. It really helps to amplify what I and other detransitioners and parents and other people who have been trying to blow the whistle for years have been saying, and have been attacked for saying. We've been assaulted for and threatened for just raising our concerns about the use of these irreversible procedures. And now to finally have that institutional backing behind all of that is very, very vindicating, frankly.
And digging into that, how helpful could these, removals be for protecting children, or reversals of former procedures, if you will?
While for now it's just a recommendation that's been made against them, I'm thinking that it's hopefully going to make way for further conversation across the medical community and across these other organizations and healthcare providers and doctors themselves about whether we should stop doing these treatments in children. And we're a ways from finally completing our battle against this, but we've made excellent strides in just the last year in both the cultural conversation and in rulings as well.
And the Department of Health and Human Services is moving to bar hospitals from funding for performing sex-rejecting procedures on minors. Now, President Trump has been very vocal in this regard as well. How does it feel to know that the administration shares your beliefs?
Especially since we've been dealing with the rulings of the Biden administration, only pushing this ideology forward and leading thousands more children to end up getting hurt in the same way that I have. To have the first administration in American history finally speak up against this and attack this industry on every front that it possibly can is not just personally giving me hope and feeling like the voices of the children of my generation are finally being heard, but it makes me feel that we are getting closer than ever before to finally ending this practice in the United States.
And beyond any monetary damages, what does support look like for those who have transitioned and now regret it?
The unfortunate thing about Fox's case, and really in any case for detransitioners who are holding their doctors accountable through the courts, no amount of money is ever going to take back time. It's never going to bring us back our healthy body parts or what we had before. But it's going to hold these doctors to account and help us to find a new normal. And we can personally support these people by showing them that we care for them, and by spreading the word that this is something that is happening and continuing to happen in our healthcare system, even after all the efforts of the past few years to protect children.
And I want to turn now to the role of faith. Here's actually Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on Monday speaking about mental health and addiction. Let's listen to that now.
We are in a spiritual malaise in this country, and we need to give people access to all different ways of reconnecting with something that is higher than themselves.
And the secretary there talking about the healing power of faith, and you and I have actually spoken about this very recently. For those who are struggling, though, maybe feeling lost, what role can faith play?
For years, I struggled to even have a faith or conceptualize that there was a God in the first place, because I was raised in a pretty atheist household, and I also was a very science-focused person for most of my life. But I think that faith is the single greatest missing thing in my generation that is causing the overall identity crisis that's happening amongst young women and young men my age. And it is accepting that God created me one way, in a loving manner, in his own image, and that he is using every single one of my experiences, even the more painful parts of my life, for good, that has given me greater resolve in what I do today and in my healing from everything that's happened.
Well, Chloe Cole, as always, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me again.